Adam just say a little bit
Okay.
about the study that he's going to do.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any
Okay. Time is
slides,
yours,
Adam, or are
Adam.
you just going to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, so I go first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
Do you have
And
any slides or are
yeah,
you just going to speak?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm going to share my slides.
Okay,
okay. Okay. Hang on. I'll make
yeah, Prof.
you. Yeah, okay.
Sapno
Yeah.
will give
Yes.
you the right
Yeah.
to
Now
share.
you can. Yeah. You
Okay,
can
go
share
ahead,
your
please.
slide.
Thank you. Wait for a moment.
Mm.
Okay. I think you can see my screen, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We
Okay,
can see
okay.
it.
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions
Yeah.
while Adam is talking, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, students, if you have questions, please ask Adam. Go on, Adam.
Okay. And hello, everyone, professors and doctors. It's my great honor to be here to share my recent study and under the guidance of Professor Jacobs. It's about speciesism in Chinese language. And first of all, I'd like to do a brief introduction about myself. I'm an undergraduate student from China. I'm studying in Chengdu, and currently I'm an exchange student in University Malaya, Malaysia.
Mm.
And first of all, I'd like to give a brief introduction to speciesism. Speciesism refers to the disadvantageous treatment, consideration, or assignment of a moral standing based on species membership. Speciesism is quite common in language use, as we may use that or which instead of who to refer to animals in text. So, the phenomena of using relative pronouns to refer animals as objects is called speciesist language. Here are some relative research about speciesism in language use. Dunaye once comprehensively dissected how animals are humiliated in texts, as human authors tend to use ambiguous terms to describe their sufferings. He found that in texts about animal sufferings, less extreme terms will be used. And Dr. Chow and Jacobs once criticized the requirement by the censored version of APA that the use of who is limited in human beings.
Ooh, yeah.
And in the censored edition of APA, when writing academic papers, the relative pronoun who can only be associated with human beings, not allowed to use who to refer to human animals. It's a typical example of speciesism in language use. And Leach utilized word embeddings. It's a algorithm model or techniques used to model language based on the occurrence of words. Leach built a corpus of billions of words from films, books, blogs, and he used the algorithm to model the language. And yeah, this linguistic material comes from everyday language. And he find that we tend to associate words referring to concern and value with human beings, but when using words with non-human animals, we tend to use words that without strong feeling. And Ariki, Reskapa, and Takshina explored if masked language models is also a language processing model inherited species language and found that NLMs tend to use detrimental words toward non-human animals. MLM is a model, a pre-trained natural language processing model. It can, like ChatGPT, it can generate text. But according to the research, it inherited the phenomena of speciesism in language, as the generated texts were used harmful and detrimental words towards non-human animals. And by conducting literature review, I found that there exists few literature concerning the use of speciesism languages in Chinese. So I'm going to explore the phenomenon of speciesism in Chinese language use. In Chinese, we have three pronouns: ta, 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 the three. The first ta refers to she, the second he, the third it. And commonly, the first two are used with male, female, and male. This one for female, this one for male, and this one is used to refer to an object. So I will use a corpus to explore if we use the third ta to refer to animals. It's also a phenomenon of speciesism in language use, as we assign an inferior status to animals in the text. The research procedures of my research is as follows. First of all, I will refer to three dictionaries for the definition and usage of the three ta. Based on the definition from dictionaries, we can learn about the common sense in the academia about the usage about the three pronouns. And secondly, I will obtain a list of animal names based on the catalog of Live China 2024 annual checklist. The checklist is released by a authoritative organization in China, which calculates all the amount of animals available in China. And then I will use the BCC corpus. It's a corpus consisting of billions of Chinese words from a variety of genres, such as the films, books, blogs. It can represent the common language use in Chinese. I will search all the animal names in the corpus to see if they are connected with which pronouns of the three pronouns. And finally, qualitative and quantitative analysis will be conducted to interpret the use of pronouns. I may group them by the reasons for the use of a certain pronoun, and then compare the usage of each pronoun with other in a quantitative way to see if the phenomenon of speciesism is significant in Chinese language use. And so I'm at a very early stage of my research. Currently, I cannot share much about the results of my research. It's a pity. So that's all about my research. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Thank you, Adam.
just briefly, I think a key point to take away for you guys in Indonesia from Adam's study is that most eco-linguistic research has been done with English. So any study that's been done in English, if you can replicate it in another language, that's good. So that's basically what Adam is doing. The studies that were done about speciesism in English, they use corpora, but there's corpora in Chinese language, there's corpora in many languages. So you just replicate the study that was done in English, but you use the corpora in Bahasa Indonesia, Javanese, or whatever. and then you have a study. But of course, every language is different.
Yeah, okay. Adam, if I can get it correctly, you are proposing that in Chinese,
Yeah.
who can be used for animals too. Is it right? The pronouns who.
I think the three pronouns are already used in Chinese language, but I want to search them in a large corpus to see because based on the previous literature, use the third pronoun ta because it is commonly used to refer to objects. If you use the third one to refer to animals, it's speciesism in language. So I want to explore the phenomenon of speciesism in language is significant if it's significant in Chinese. So
if
An
you can
interesting
put
thing
it
is
in a
that
question, if you can put it in a question form, what will be your research question, Adam?
Research question. Yeah. I forget to share about the research question. So first of all, I will explore first of the question is if ta and ta used to refer men and women will be associated with animals. The second question is is it common for to associate ta with non-human animals in Chinese linguistic texts? Thirdly, is what are the motivations or reasons to utilize the human pronouns to refer to animals?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Is there any question? Yeah, Agung or Petriani or Angga? Question?
Sir,
Yeah.
I want to share something that about pronoun to animals. In Indonesia, in mass media, we never get the pronoun of animal. It should be who or you, but they always use the name of animal like dog or some animals. I just want to share the information about in Indonesia, sir.
Yeah. So in Indonesia, we don't distinguish human and animal when we use the pronoun. For example, dog. Yeah. Dogs its legs. Yeah. We don't use it. Yeah. We use nya. Yeah. Nya. Nya refers to the dog, and nya can also refer to human.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah,
So-
we don't distinguish. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's, you
Yeah,
know, one nice thing about doing research in ecolinguistics is that not much research has been done.
Yeah.
Ecolinguistics is a relatively new field. So it's easy to find something new. And,
Yeah.
you know how when you want to write an article, you always talk about the gap. GAP. What's the gap? What's the gap in the literature? Well, because ecolinguistics is so new, there are so many gaps.
Yeah.
So it's easy to
Okay.
find gaps, especially when you do other languages.
Yeah. Okay.
So as you know, as all of you know, and I already told Adam, Prof. Safnil is an expert in genre analysis. But genre analysis has been around for a long time.
Yeah. Right.
And there have been many studies done in English.
Yes.
But Prof. Safnil keeps doing studies in English. but it must be difficult to find new topics,
The new gaps, yeah.
new gaps. But in eco-linguistics, especially when you do languages other than English, there are
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many gaps. It's very easy to find gaps.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Since most of our students are teachers or lecturers, now what kind of study they can do on eco-linguistic in the classroom, not in mass media, in the classroom? What can be the possible issue or topics to be investigated on eco-linguistic in the classroom, in the textbooks, in the student-teacher interaction, or in the classroom discourse? Is there any, or are there any possible topics? Prof.
Oh,
Jacobs.
maybe Professor Jacobs have more ideas. I read one paper, and it's quite
Yeah,
popular in China to explore the ecolinguistics in language teaching, and
language teaching.
especially about the textbooks, how to make or how to write textbooks, if the how we treat animals in the textbooks, the images of animals in students' textbooks, or the comparative analysis of Chinese textbooks and English textbooks about the image of animals, or some other environment issues, environment protection, pollution, air, and climate change is something in the how to describe those issues in our textbooks. It's a very big topic in China.
And
Okay.
just to elaborate on what Adam said, I know a student at National University of Yogyakarta. She's not there anymore, but she did a study about primary school textbooks, primary school
Yes.
English textbooks in Indonesia. So I can ask her to send the study to Prof. Safnil.
Okay, thank you. As you mentioned last year, Prof. Jacob, eco-linguistic study is a critical discourse analysis study. Is it always critical?
Well, some people ask me what's the difference between critical discourse analysis and ecolinguistics. So you could say that critical discourse analysis is applied to language. Alam is here. Let me just quickly introduce Alam, because he is also a graduate student from National University of Yogyakarta, who's done, he just finished a study that I read, a very nice study about translation. And he compared the English and the Bahasa Indonesia versions of articles about nature. But let me just let Alam introduce himself either in English or Bahasa. Up to you.
Ya, silakan.
Thank you.
Aditya
Thank you,
Alam.
Prof. Jacob.
Ya.
Selamat siang, Prof. Safnil dan para bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, dan juga Adam. And Adam, nice to meet you. My name is Aditya Alam. So I was invited to join this discussion today to share about my research. Well, it's not published yet. It's in process of reviewing. We already revised the findings and all the requirement from the editors and reviewer. So I think I would like to share how is it like the perspective of ecolinguistics within translation studies.
Do you want to share your
Yes.
PowerPoint?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah.
before Alam does that, let me just answer Prof. Safnil's question.
Yeah.
His question was, is ecolinguistics always critical? So critical, of course, has two meanings. One is to criticize, to say what's bad. But the other meaning is to give feedback. And feedback can be positive or negative. So for example, the study that I mentioned of the textbooks in the English textbooks in primary schools in Indonesia, Alam is good friends with Ingrid, who is the main person who did that study. It had praise for the textbooks and it had criticisms. So ecolinguistics is not all criticism. It's not all saying bad. It's also talking about positive things.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Alam.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Thank
You
you.
can share your PowerPoints, Alam.
Can you see
Yeah, we
the?
can see it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My title, the title of the research is Representation of Non-Human Animals, and I call it Translation Investigation of English Indonesian Ecotourism Articles. So the objectives is to look at the ecotourism articles, like the nature, but for the studies, focus only on Indonesia ecotourism, such as national parks, eco lodge, and then there's also natural reserve. The question is, how do cultural filters in translation, such as deletion, distortion, and generalization, impact the representation of non-human animals when translating English language ecotourism articles into Indonesian? The main theories of the research is from STB, 9 forms of ecolinguistic stories. And then from the translation part is the theory from Katan, cultural filters in translation.
And let me just interrupt a second, Alam.
Yes.
So he mentioned this guy Stibbe, and you can go to the website of the International Eco-Linguistics Association, and they have a free online course that
Yes.
talks about the 9 stories that Alam just mentioned.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to learn more, you can learn it free. You can take the online course at your own, it's anytime you want, you can do it. It's asynchronous. Sorry, Alam, please continue.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we can see the example here, like how I'm applying the theories into practice. Like this is a passage from ecotourism promotion from local guides. The main reason people visit Tanjung Puting is because of orangutans. The park is also home to bizarre-looking proboscis monkey with its Jimmy Durantinos. So the bizarre-looking proboscis monkey's evaluation stories mentioning unusual appearance of as a defining characteristic of this species of monkey. And then the passage also mentioned about Jimmy Durantinos, which is a metaphor, like comparing animal features to human celebrity, American celebrity. And then there's also the use of its ideology, similar to what I think Adam mentioned before. So it's referred to like monkey as not as an object, not sentient being. And then the passage go on with as well as 7 other primate species. This is refer to erasure, unnamed animal are reduced to numbers. And then the whole passage of this is ideology that position non-human animals as primary ecotourism commodity. My findings, this is just like a snippets of the research result. Like the first example, we found deletion. As we can see that the English version of the text mention about the endangered orangutan. Meanwhile, in Indonesian, the endangered, the status, the conservation status of orangutan was removed in the translation. So it's a relation. But when looking at eco-linguistic stories, 9 form of story, it's shifting the conviction, creating a false sense of security that this particular species is safe. Like because in an English version, it's mentioned two important points. First, its research center in Tanjung Puting National Park is important as remaining homes. And then there's also the point about the endangered orangutan. Meanwhile, in English, in Indonesian translation, it's only mentioned that this research center is the remaining home for orangutan. So there's a removal of like, okay, there's no immediate danger for the orangutan mentioned in the Indonesian text. Meanwhile, the distortion example, here we can see the first excerpt is talking about Komodo dragons. Meanwhile, in the second excerpt, talk about elephants in Sumatra. In here, this is framing stories because in the source text, it's mentioned about vocabularies used for a militaristic vocabularies or terms such as arm, defense, and charges. Similarly, in the second excerpt, there's also to stop, stomping into, tearing up, and then it's an easy truce. And then there's also battle in the second excerpt. So this is like a terms that are primarily used in, like, for example, text within a conflict about war or something. But this is talking about animals, human and animals conflicts. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, there's a distortion in framing. This is the framing in English, and then in Indonesia, the framing is shifted into, for example, the arm become it's translated into bersenjata, more concrete form, and then the defense is pertahanan. The charges, the dragon charges is removed and replaced into Komodo. So we found that this first excerpt removed the sense of urgency mentioned in the source text. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, it's mentioned about like a routine activity that tourists can go on this place in Komodo Island, or especially in this excerpt is about Rinca Island. Let's talk about routine activity that there's no danger in it. So the framing is shifted. Meanwhile, in the second excerpt, the word to stop is distorted into mencegah, to prevent. Meanwhile, to storm into is translated into memasuki or to enter. Tearing up is translated into mencabuti. The more problematic, if I may say, it's like an easy truth is translated, an easy truth, and the word battle is translated into kesepahaman, and then sangat rentan, pertikaian. The English version mentioned about like immediate or urgency about like this is really dangerous. What is it? More about the reality is more real kind of. But in Indonesian, it's more reduced because this is gradual instead of like immediate challenges. Because the word of berkembang menjadi pertikaian is cannot represent that can easily break into battle. And then the generalization example is about inaccurate identification. What I mean by inaccurate identification is we can say that gibbons, tarsier, and then southern peak of tailed macaque is translated first we know that gibbons and tarsiers is primate. It's also true for macaque, it's primate. But in Indonesia, the gibbons, which is lesser apes, is translated into monyet ungka. And tarsiers is translated into monyet tarsier. Meanwhile, on the other hand, in the second excerpt, southern pig-tailed macaque, it's translated into kera ekor babi. So we identify that there's inaccurate identification in translation, which using generalization. But when we say it from the ecolinguistic perspective, it's minimizing the human animal's distinct uniqueness. It's erasure that this animal can be interchangeably called monyet or kera. Because gibbons, it's they Indonesia they have many common names such as siamang, and then also ungka. Ungka is also a common name from for gibbons. Or there's also wawa, and then tarsier. There's also a common name for tarsier such as tarsius, for example, and then suara. So we found that in the translation, mostly by the influence of translation filter, the eco-linguistic stories are transformed. Like either it's reduced, distorted, or become something. The salience of the animals and their ecological significance are reduced in Indonesia. So this is affect how the audience of the Indonesian the Indonesian readers to understand of this non-human animal, the representation of this non-human animal. Like for example, as we can see in the first, it is about the conservation message about endangered, and then in the second we see about the message about conflicts, conservation challenges, and then in the third is about identification. What's important for the identification is because if we inaccurately identify the animals, it's affect their well-being, because identifying animals correctly can help us about how to treat them, how to prevent disease, transferring disease if we have like close contact with them. And then there's also to help us, like to prevent us to also kind of share the disease if we have close contact with them. So accurate identification is really important for conservation, especially because the context of the text itself is about ecotourism. Ecotourism is not only about tourists, there's also about conservation and then responsible travel. I think that's all about my main point about my research.
Oke, iya. Terima kasih ya. Aditya atau Alam? Ayo, mangga.
Alam boleh, Prof.
Alam. Ya.
Ya, Prof.
Ya, oke. Ada pertanyaan dari mahasiswa ini, mahasiswa S3 Doktor Linguistik Terapan. Ada yang berasal dari S2 Bahasa Indonesia, ada yang dari S2 Bahasa Inggris. Ya, silakan ingin bertanya, ya, you can ask question in Bahasa Indonesia. Ya. Alam, tadi ada teks bahasa Inggris dan ada teks bahasa Indonesia. Nah, itu
Ya,
siapa
Prof.
yang menerjemahkan?
Ini teksnya berasal dari majalah penerbangannya Garuda Indonesia.
Oke. Berarti dua-duanya
Jadi
sudah ada.
kampusnya,
Teks bahasa Inggris
iya
dan bahasa
sudah
Indonesia
ada.
sudah ada.
Iya,
Lalu yang ingin dilihat apakah terjemahannya itu dengan teks bahasa Inggrisnya sama kesannya gitu ya.
iya, Pak.
Ya.
Pesan ekologikalnya apakah tersampaikan sama dengan di Indonesia?
Ya, ya dari 3 hal tadi ya. 3 aspek
Iya,
tadi ya. Ya, apa tadi yang
deletion, distortion,
deletion,
dan generalization.
distortion. Ya, oke. Ya, ya, good. Nah, berapa ini untuk apa? Untuk tesis, apa disertasi atau?
Ini research kolaborasi sama teman.
Alam apa? Dosen atau mahasiswa?
Baru lulus kemarin, Prof.
Lulus dari
Baru lulus dari Applied Linguistic juga di
di
UNY.
UNY ya?
Ya,
UNY, oke. Iya, ya, oke. Oke, silakan yang ingin bertanya.
Sir,
Ya, silakan.
I
Angga.
have I have question for Professor George Jacobs.
Oke, ya.
In Bengkulu, we have Rafflesia arnoldi, biggest flower. The name of Rafflesia flower has been used to promote Bengkulu province.
Ya.
And my question is, the name of Rafflesia land, is it included to Eco-Linguistic study or not, sir?
I think, yeah, thank you for the question. I know that flower is very famous. It's the largest flower in the world, right?
Ya.
Yeah, so I know it's very famous. So I think anything with words fits with eco-linguistics. But also, as Adam was saying, it's not only words, because visuals also communicate ideas. So that's language too. Thus, eco-linguistics looks not only at words, but at visuals, at gestures, anything about the way that we communicate fits under eco-linguistics.
What will be the object? What will be the issue to be investigated about Rafflesia flower, George?
Well, I think it's very interesting that, you know who Raffles was, right? You know who the flower is named after.
Yes.
So Raffles was this British guy who came to Southeast Asia in the early 19th century, if I'm correct. So why do we name flowers after him? Why don't we name flowers after the flowers in Indonesia? Why don't we name it after Indonesians? So I think I don't know much about flowers and plants, but it would be interesting to see how many plants are named after Westerners who came to Indonesia or China or wherever, and then gave the name after themselves rather than naming it after people who are from that region. But also, how is the flower talked about? And, like, I think, how is it promoted? Like, for example, this is a bit off the topic, but a friend of Alam's, Ingrid, who I mentioned before, I worked with her to do a study of Kopi Luwak. Everybody knows what Kopi Luwak, just for Adam's benefit, Kopi Luwak is a kind of coffee that's made after an animal has swallowed the coffee beans and they've gone through the animal's digestive system and come out. Then they take the coffee beans and they make coffee. So Luwak is the name of the animal, and kopi is the Indonesian word for coffee. So yeah, I think you can look at how things are marketed. How is the animal portrayed? How is the flower portrayed? And so is it just used for commercial purposes, or is it is paying attention to the Rafflesia flower? Is it one way to promote conservation of forests? Or is it just taking the flower out to sell because it's different? Just like in Alam's study, the proboscis monkeys are different, strange, so they get a lot of attention. But does preserving the forests where the proboscis monkeys live, does that get attention? Does preserving the forest where the Rafflesia flower grows, does that get attention? So perhaps that could be investigated.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Rafflesia flower recently used to promote mainly the land of Bengkulu. As Rafflesia flower also recently used to promote some product from Bengkulu, like batik or some food from Bengkulu, like what we call that, calamansi, Rafflesia, something like that.
Orange,
Right.
orange juice.
Yeah, well, yeah.
In
It's used
future,
for commercial reasons, but is it used to preserve the forests? I don't know. I don't know anything about the forests around Bengkulu, but maybe Alam or Adam would like to say something.
Yeah, it's the same with how orangutan is promoted in ecotourism. Like, for example, in Tanjung Puting National Park, it's focused only on orangutan. So like my example mentioned, like the text mentioned 3 other primates. So the 3 other primates is removed from the attention. That's why it's erased from the text, from the perception of the readers. So the focus only on the 2 primates mentioned, orangutan and proboscis monkey with the distinct nose of Jimmy. I think that can be explored, like how it is the discourse present this idea of ecotourism to the audience. For example, for my text is about tourism in a national park. So maybe about the Rafflesia, it's about product of, is it drink or something? Maybe they also have the visiting, sightseeing of the flower. Maybe that can also be one of the objects to investigate.
Good points.
Yeah. Okay, next, Bu Rismar, you have question?
Sir,
Yes,
I
I have a questions for
Boleh
both
Risma and then Ria, ya. Okay.
expert. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
question for
Yeah,
both
please. Yeah.
Professor Jacob, Adam, and Ellen. It's quite
Yeah.
interesting discussion actually. And at first, my assumption that eco-linguistics is a kind of research that belong to like critical discourse in which we criticize some policies that made by a government related to the environment or languages like that. Now I found something new that it is not true. Is it correct, Prof. Jacob? And then as a teacher, I need more, I need another research that had been done by a researcher related to eco-linguistics in field of teaching, learning, instruction in the classroom. Maybe some of you, both Adams, Ellen, and Prof. Jacob, can give me or give us some references related to this research. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, well, I've written a lot about environmental education. And back in the 1970s, the United Nations came up with 6 environmental education objectives. And the 6th of those environmental education objectives is participation. And participation means that the students and the teachers actually do something to help the environment. Like the other objectives are 1, awareness. They're aware of environmental problems. 2, understanding. They understand why these problems occur and they understand solutions to these problems. 3, concern. That means that they care about the situation. Like let's say the proboscis monkeys or the orangutan. They care, they want to do something to protect these animals. 4, skill. They have the language skill, the physical science skill, chemistry skill, engineering skill, whatever, to do something. 5, they evaluate. They can evaluate the different proposed solutions and choose good solutions. But none of the first 5, awareness, understanding, concern, skills, evaluation, mean nothing. None of them mean anything unless people actually participate and do. And so that's very interesting to do. And way back 20 years ago, I did a study about textbooks, ESL textbooks. And I asked, did they talk about the environment? And when they talked about the environment, did they involve the students and teachers in actual, not imagined, not simulated, not discussed, but real, actual participation in doing something to protect the environment, such as planting trees, such as writing to the government to encourage the government to use alternative energy, to stop using fossil fuels, things like that. So I think that's an excellent thing that teachers can do. And there are real things that you can do in your classroom to promote participation. As a matter of fact, this morning I was working on a book that is based in Indonesia, and we're going to make it a free online book. It's called Triple E, English via Environmental Education. And every lesson has grammar, has reading comprehension, the usual things, but every lesson also has participation, things that students can actually do to participate in protecting the environment.
Okay, it's mean that as a teacher, we can do eco-linguistic research in a textbook and how it applied with our students and how the textbook content, the content of textbooks give influence to our students to protect our environment like that, something like that, Prof?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. But let's hear what Alam and Adam have to say. I mean, if you have something to say, fine. If you don't, no worries. Completely voluntary.
Yeah, Adam, you want to say something?
And for me, I completely agree with the viewpoints of Professor Jacobs. Yeah, in language learning and teaching, ecolinguistics can connect with writing textbooks and then use textbooks to inspire students to participate in protecting the environment. In addition, I learned about I once learned about the pedagogy of pedagogy involving eco-linguistics, that is to, for example, teaching eco-linguistic translation. Teachers who teach translation can draw students attention to the linguistic, to the eco-linguistic translation about texts, like the research conducted by Alan, and teachers can teach students how to control or how to treat the animals, the image of animals equally in the text. So that's a little about my thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to elaborate on what Adam said, when students read texts that use it for animals instead of who or they, then the teacher can point that out. And the same kind of things that Alam was talking about. When teachers see those in the materials that they use, then the teacher can highlight that and encourage the students to use alternatives.
Okay, yeah. Alam, you want to say something?
I think it's already mentioned by Adam and Prof. Jacob. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Next, Ria, do you have question?
Okay, sir. Thank you for this time. Mr. Jacob, nice to meet you.
Same here. Nice to meet you, Ria.
Okay. I have read one of your research about Ecolinguistics and the education of young people, and the conclusion, one statement in the conclusion that make me use it as a inspiration to do action, not only try to understand in theoretical, but also try to practice that. Right now, as one of the lecturers in this province, Bengkulu, I have one activity that try to combine or socialize eco-linguistic and eco-ELT in my classroom. And with my project right now, I try to use this overview as a theme in my project, like sustainable development goals in project based learning of English for young learners in elementary school with eco-linguistic and eco-ELT overview. But in the reality, I get a trouble when I practice in the elementary school in my city, because this is new and very difficult to me to find textbook and also material specific about Eco-Linguistics. Mr. Sopnil has given me one material about 22 children's books about biodiversity, nature, and environment. There are interesting topic in there. It's about 22, but I think this is not appropriate to level the students in my elementary school in my city, because the teachers use LKS, worksheet, is different with the material from outside my country. So would you mind giving me solution? Because my activity not only socialize this eco-linguistic and eco-ELT to my students as students teachers, free service teachers, but also we have a project to introduce and socialize this one to elementary school, because the situation in our city is very specific and very, I think unique, because near the sea, and also we try to not only introduce by teaching in English, but we try to elaborate by adoption tech modified lyric song, and also media or something like game, by elaborate with eco-linguistic. For example, with the topic in the 22 children's book, one plastic bag, or talking about the leaf detective. So we have idea to make something activity, use the leaf to put in the paper that relate to the material about numbers, something like that. But can you give me another tips or strategy or something like technique to help me, especially my students and also me, to make this is more interesting to my students, especially for elementary school, because this is very new and very hard to me to socialize this topic. Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you, Ria. You mentioned the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes, yes.
And actually, I helped to create a free online book, which you can see the title in the chat. If you go to the chat, you'll see the title of the book. It's called Cooperative Learning and the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
So if you just Google that title, you'll see how to download the free online book.
Okay,
There are many activities in that book.
Thank you.
Think, of course, many of them will not be the right level for your students.
Yes.
But hopefully some you can adopt so that you can do them with your students.
Okay, thank you.
And also in that book, there's mention of 3 other free online books that have lesson plans about the Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay.
Then another thing is that I helped a graduate student in social studies at University of Malaya. She was doing a study about sustainable diets, food that people eat that will contribute to sustainable development. So, for example, if you eat less meat, you eat more plants like vegetables, fruits, green vegetables, orange vegetables, all kinds of vegetables, rice, all that is better for the environment. And so everyone eats. I'm not saying that you have to give up meat 100%, but you can shift your diet more toward plants that will be healthier, it will be kinder to the animals, and it will be better for the environment. So everyone eats, everyone is interested in food. So there are many possibilities there. Also, last thing is that in that book, one of the lessons is, I'll put it in the chat, the title of the lesson, but you can find it online. It's called The Free Rice Game. Does everyone see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Free
yes.
rice game.
Has anyone played that game?
Yes, free rice game.
Has
Free
anyone
rice
played
game.
it? Just Google. I'll stop for 1 minute. Google that game. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Free rice game.
Alam, did you find it?
Free rice.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you see, actually, it's many games. For example, the first game they had is just English vocabulary.
Yeah.
And so every time you answer, the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization will give 10 grains of rice. So let's say you get 10 questions correct, that's 100 grains of rice. And they have one nice thing about the game is if you get an answer wrong, the next question is easier. If you get an answer correct, the next question is more difficult. And they have other languages. They have Chinese. I don't know if they have Bahasa Indonesia, but they have not just language, they have mathematics, they have other areas. So you can talk about world hunger, and that's a very serious problem. It's a problem even in Indonesia, but in other countries, even worse, where children do not get enough food. And if we move away from so much meat, there's more food to give to the people who don't have enough food.
Yeah, this is a vocabulary game, right?
So there are like 15 different games.
Okay.
When it first started, there was only English vocabulary. Now there's many other games.
And the present is always rice?
Yes. Now, of course, it's a present not for you or me. It's a present for people who don't have enough food.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. More question, Fetriani? Do you have question?
Okay, thank you, Prof. Sapnil. Hello, Mr. Jacobs.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Jacob. Actually, I have two questions.
Good.
The first one is, I think one of the best issue is about the climate change. Prof. Jacob, maybe you have some suggestion. How can eco-linguistics be applied to address climate change? And the second one is, if we want to collect the data, what are the ethical consideration in collecting or gathering the data from the diverse population? Thank you, Mr. Jacobs.
Okay, well, yeah, let me take the second question first. I think ethics in research is important. Let's say what Adam is doing, what Alam is doing, they don't have to worry about ethics because like Adam is using a corpus that's already been put together. And Alam was using articles from from the magazine of Garuda Airlines. So those are publicly available data sources. So like I did a study about newspapers in the US, in Malaysia, in UK, and in Singapore. Those are online, free for anybody to use. So, but if you like tape record your friends talking, then you need their permission. But otherwise, ethics is not a big deal. Okay, then your second question about climate change. Climate change, wow, global warming, very important. So we have to change, we have to stop using fossil fuels. So this is where our participation can involve putting pressure on companies, putting pressure on governments to do something, to move away, to use solar power, to use wind power, to use hydroelectric power, so that we turn the lights on. It's not powered by fossil fuels. So we can, and also we can, let me put one term in the chat. It's called greenwashing.
Greenwashing.
Have you heard this term?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, greenwashing means pretending to be doing things that are eco-friendly when really you're doing things that are harming the environment. That's what greenwashing means. So I'll give you an example. I just read a study. In fact, I sent it to Prof. Safnil. A study about advertising by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And Coca-Cola claims to be a very caring company. You know, they want to help everyone. They want everyone to love everyone else. They want to form a global community of people who drink Coke and smile. But that's not true. I mean, Coca-Cola is bad for our health. The way that they make it is bad for the environment. So in that study by Aaron Stibbe, who Alam mentioned, who's a very famous eco-linguist. So he took the advertisements of Coca-Cola, which are free, anyone can get them, and saw what Coca-Cola claimed to be doing, all the good they claim to be doing, and then he contrasted that with the bad things that Coca-Cola is actually doing. And so the oil companies are claiming to be doing good things, but usually they're not. So you can analyze their advertisements, compare that with what they're actually doing, and that would make an excellent study. But let's see if I have to leave because I have another Zoom meeting at 4 o'clock, but I'll let Alam and Adam respond. And let me thank Professor Safnil for inviting me and thank all of you for attending.
Me too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Jacobs.
Bye-bye.
Very fruitful discussion for us. Oke, ya, mari kita lanjutkan. Ya, Adam, do you want to say something?
Thank you. No, I do not have something to say. Thank you.
Adam, is your study critical discourse analysis or just linguistic aspect in
No,
your study?
my study is not discourse analysis, because I will use the corpus. The corpus is a existing corpus. I just search the names of animals in the corpus, and and to look at what pronouns are used to refer to these animals.
Okay, thank you. Anam, what is the title of your research?
Title is Representation of Non-Human Animals.
Representation?
Representations of non-human animal and eco-translation investigation of English Indonesian ecotourism articles.
Non-human. Yeah. Okay. Where do you want to publish the results?
It's still under the second review by a journal. So maybe, hopefully, it's on December, maybe published date.
Which journal?
It's New Zealand journal. It's translation journal. It's Parallels journals.
Okay, translation, yeah. About translation.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Adam and Alam. Yeah. We learned much from your research. And maybe one of my students will be interested in doing research on ecolinguistic and environmental sustainability program. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alam. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Sapnia.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Alam.
Oke, ya. Oke, kita lanjutkan. Ya, saya belum dengar suara si Ibu Esi Nurasyah. Ya, suara Randi juga belum. Ya, Anthony juga belum. Ya, ada yang mau disampaikan? Silakan, Bu Esi.
Paham betul bahasa.
Bagaimana?
Untuk menyimaknya, Pak.
Oh, oke, ya, tidak ada yang tertangkap ya. Siapa yang Anthony?
Ya, selamat sore, Prof. Tadi mohon diulang pengertian dari greenwashing tadi. Pretending apa tadi, Prof?
Greenwashing itu mencuci tanpa menggunakan energi, ya. Ya, kita nyuci pinggir kali. Ini tidak pakai mesin cuci lagi. Kalau pakai mesin cuci kan pakai listrik. Listriknya dihasilkan dari membakar batu bara atau gunakan solar energy.
Ya, Prof. Makasih.
Di situ jangan makan daging. Kalau kita makan daging, ya nanti kita memusnahkan hewan. Ya, seperti George Jacob itu dia vegetarian, ya, dia tidak makan daging.
Oh, ya, ya. Iya, Prof. Makasih, Prof.
Ya, betul-betul.
Prof, mau nanya, Prof.
Ya.
Loli mau nanya,
Silakan.
boleh, Prof?
Ya, silakan. Ini
Prof,
kita rekam nanti dibagikan ya, Sobat.
makasih ya, Prof. Tadi kan sudah disampaikan sama Alam ya, Prof, ya, yang nyampein ada artikel mengenai dari majalah dari pesawat Garuda tadi mengenai Ecolinguistics itu, Prof. Kalau yang Loli lihat itu tadi kan, Prof, di beberapa kutipan majalahnya itu kan dia mengutip mengenai Ecolinguistics. Nah, kalau yang di pembelajaran bahasa dan sastra Indonesia itu kan, Prof, ada juga beberapa kajian sastra atau beberapa karya sastra seperti novel, cerpen, itu kan juga ada yang berhubungan dengan alam dan sekitarnya itu, Prof. Apakah itu juga bisa dikaji berdasarkan ekolinguistik ini, Prof?
Iya, ya bisa sekali karena mudah mencari research gap-nya. Penelitian tentang ekolinguistik ini masih langka. Tujuannya adalah bagaimana pendidikan mempromosikan mempromosikan environment, ya kan tadi 3E tadi Jacob itu kan,
Ya,
environment apa? Environmental education, ya. Bagaimana di di pendidikan kita, apakah itu dari buku ajar, ya, atau dari interaksi dalam kelas, ya, bagaimana guru mempromosikan alam, ya, pelestarian alam ini. Nah, itulah intinya itu. Ya, kalau tadi alam itu dia meneliti terjemahan
Oh, terjemahannya Prof ya.
dari majalah Garuda,
Majalah. Iya Prof,
ada
dari
teks bahasa
majalah.
Inggrisnya, ada teks bahasa Indonesianya. Dia hanya meneliti itu. Ya, nah, dia menemukan bahwa terjemahan teks bahasa Inggrisnya dan teks bahasa Indonesianya berbeda dalam sudut pandang apa tadi, ya, lingkungan tadi gitu.
Oh gitu ya Prof.
Jadi tidak persis sama, berbeda dari 3 aspek tadi yang dia lihat gitu ya. Nah, itu menarik juga. Ya.
Iya Prof ya.
Ya,
Terima
ya
kasih ya
banyak yang
Prof.
banyak yang bisa diteliti dari tentang ekolinguistik ini. Kalau kita mau fokus ke pendidikan ya juga masih banyak.
Iya.
Prof, mau nanya Prof.
Ya, silakan Bu Rismar.
Ya, Prof. Saya Prof ya. Gini, Prof. Kalau saya amatin dari tadi, berarti kalau di bidang pendidikan gapnya memang masih banyak sekali. Kayak tadi intinya bagaimana kita mengajarkan anak itu dalam hal pendidikan ya, Prof ya, pelestarian alam lah. Nah, ini kalau kita kaitkan dengan kurikulum Merdeka, itu tercantum dalam profil pelajar Pancasila itu loh, Prof. Kayaknya bagus sekali. Jadi meneliti buku teks, kaitkan dengan kurikulum Merdeka, terus profil pelajar Pancasila dengan ekolinguistik ini. Sepertinya seperti
Ya.
itu ya, Prof.
Ya bisa ya, muatan pendidikan lingkungan yang terdapat ya dalam buku ajar bahasa Inggris atau bahasa Indonesia.
Iya.
Dan bagaimana guru menyajikan muatan pendidikan lingkungan tadi di dalam kelas. Jadi kan bisa datanya tidak hanya dari buku teks, bisa juga
Tapi di
dari
kelas.
wawancara dengan guru, ya, atau mengamati kegiatan belajar di dalam kelas.
Iya, betul.
Ya.
Asik juga ya, Prof ya. Terkait
Ya, dia kan kuncinya itu kan Millennium Development Goals itu kan. Nah, itu dasarnya itu dari situ, dari PPT yang dia bagikan itu. Nah, tadi dia mengatakan bahwa ekolinguistik ini tidak selalu kritikal dari segi negatif ya, bisa juga positif. Jadi memuji, menyanjung itu juga kritikal. Ya. Kalau kita kan menganggap kritikal itu negatif, melihat
Nah,
kekurangan,
itu.
kelemahan. Nah, jadi bisa
Betul.
dari positif ya, positif
Jadi
kritikal
bukan
ya.
cuma negatif kritikal ya, Dok ya, tapi bisa feedback katanya. Kalau feedback itu bisa
Ya,
positif,
feedback,
negatif.
betul. Iya.
Ya.
Ya, kalau
Prof.
mau membuat bahan ajar ya bisa ya, bahan ajar bahasa Inggris maupun bahasa Indonesia ya, walaupun tidak bahan ajar untuk buku wajib ya, misalnya untuk LKS ya atau bahan supplementary ya yang bermuatan environmental education tadi. Ya,
Jadi bisa
bagaimana melalui bahan ajar
bahan
itu ya.
ajar berbasis ekolinguistik ya, Prof ya. Kayak gitulah.
Ya,
Jadi
berbasis ya pendidikan
ekolinguistik.
lingkungan. Nah,
Lingkungan.
menggunakan metode ecolinguistic ya.
Oh, jadi ekolinguistik itu metodenya ya, Prof ya.
Metodenya ya, ya. Ya.
Ya.
Bahan ajarnya kan pendidikan lingkungan. Bahan
Siap,
ajar
Prof.
pendidikan bahasa Inggris bermuatan pendidikan
Bahan
lingkungan
lingkungan,
menggunakan metode
metode
ecolinguistic.
ekolinguistik. Ya.
Ya,
Prof, mau
oke.
nanya?
Ya, silakan, Petriani. Ya.
Ya. Tadi kan pertanyaan saya itu sama Prof. Jacob tadi kan tentang perubahan iklim kan, Prof. Kan
Ya.
dia menyebut bahwa salah satu bentuk yang biasa dilakukan oleh perusahaan-perusahaan itu misalnya green washing tadi, Prof. Ya, taktik yang digunakan oleh perusahaan untuk mengelabui uh,
Hmm.
ya produk
Ya,
itu
mengelabui masyarakat ya.
ya peduli pada lingkungan sebetulnya tidak, Prof ya. Nah,
Betul.
misal kita
Betul.
melakukan penelitian, anggaplah tadi yang kita analisa tentang greenwashing tadi. Kalau tadi kan
Ya.
Coca-Cola dicontohkan. Kalau misalnya kita membuka bahwa ternyata itu memang benar eh, yang katanya berdampak peduli pada lingkungan ternyata tidak berdampak itu, Prof, apakah tidak
Ah,
membahayakan kita, Prof?
ya, benar. Ya, mengapa membahayakan? Kita kan membantu masyarakat memahami iklan misalnya ya. Atau ya iklan kan kebanyakan di iklan ya. Ya, seperti Coca-Cola ya. Itu iklan menurut iklannya itu bermanfaat bagi kesehatan ya segala macam itu ya. Nah, kita lalu melihat kenyataannya ya. Ya. Karena itu media massa, ya itu boleh dikritisi. Ya, jadi tidak ada larangan mengkritisi media massa. Nah, kalau yang namanya iklan ya jelas tujuannya komersial. Nah, kita inginkan mendidik masyarakat. Ya, kalau kita tidak masyarakat luas, ya masyarakat yang ada di kampus atau di sekolah. Ya, ketika mereka membaca atau menonton iklan minuman-minuman kaleng itu, ya, itu kan hebat sekali itu. Ya, itu ada dosen UMB yang meninggal, ya, yang itu. Nah, itu kan gara-gara banyak minuman kaleng itu. Ya, ya. Jadi dia terbawa oleh iklan, tertipu oleh iklan, dan setelah dia mencoba produk itu, dia merasakan kenikmatan. Padahal dia tidak tahu apa yang ada di luar itu. Nah, itu. Jadi kita malah mengedukasi masyarakat, ya masyarakat ya di kampus lah paling paling tidak ya kalau kita menelitinya di kampus ya. Itu tidak masalah itu. Kan tadi katanya korpus maupun media massa ya itu sudah tidak memerlukan lagi ethical clearance kecuali kalau kita misalnya mewawancarai orang. Nah, kita harus buat pernyataan bahwa orang itu bersedia diwawancarai. Ya. Apakah dia bersedia namanya dituliskan atau tidak, nah itu terserah dia, ya. Kalau dia tidak bersedia namanya dituliskan, oke, kita tidak tuliskan nama dia. Nah, itu ethical clearance-nya hanya di situ, ya. Kalau kita mewawancarai orang, ya,
Siap, siap.
mewawancarai mahasiswa atau siswa misalnya, baru. Tapi kalau sudah berupa tulisan bahasa di media massa, iklan atau pedoman ya seperti majalah ya, majalah Garuda tadi itu tidak ada ya, tidak lagi perlu ethical clearance ya, itu ketika Jacob tadi ya.
Siap, siap, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Oke, oke silakan Ibu Esi tadi mana? Atau Bu Dian ada yang mau disampaikan?
Belum, Prof. Belum. Nanti insya
Belum.
Allah minggu depan.
Ya, ya. Oke, oke, Bu Esi ada gimana? Udah dapat Ecolinguistik ya, udah tahu ya Ecolinguistik ini
Udah tahu,
kajian
Pak.
bahasa ya, kajian bahasa yang berhubungan dengan lingkungan. Nah, itu. Di mana saja
Iya,
ada
Pak.
bahasa tentang lingkungan bisa kita kaji. Apakah bahasa itu mempromosikan pelestarian lingkungan atau tidak? Nah, itu yang dikaji. Bisa di dalam bahan ajar ya, bisa
Oh,
juga di
iya, Pak.
dalam iklan di koran, di majalah.
Nah,
Nah, bagaimana orang membahasakan lingkungan? Lingkungan ini kan hewan dan tanah apa dan tumbuh-tumbuhan ya. Nah, selain manusia lah ya, selain manusia, karena manusia ini kan sudah menjadi apa penguasa ya di bumi ini ya, sehingga makhluk lain itu yang merana gitu ya. Karena manusia ini rakus sehingga hewan ya jadi langka ya. Nah, hutan pun jadi jadi langka, ya gitu. Nah, itu yang kita kaji, ya. Atau bisa juga kita R&D, ya, Research and Development, membuat bahan ajar, apapun bentuk bahan ajarnya, tidak harus buku ajar yang dipakai dalam kelas, bisa saja bahan ajar tambahan, supplementary, atau modul-modul, ya, yang mempromosikan pelestarian alam. Nah, itu. Yang menarik, ya, misalnya kalau yang suka sastra, nah bisa dikaji di cerita-cerita rakyat, ya, yang mempromosikan pelestarian alam. Ya. Jadi kata Jacob tadi, sangat mudah mencari research gap tentang ekolinguistik karena masih jarang diteliti orang. Ya. Jadi
Ya,
tidak
ya,
memerlukan
menarik.
banyak kajian pustaka, ya, karena pustaka yang dikaji pun belum banyak. Nah, ya. Jadi
Jadi
penelitian
Prof,
tentang
teori
ekolingsi masih
pertama
langka.
kita nanti siapa Prof andaikan kita meneliti ini? Teori dari mana? Jacob saja yang kita pakai.
Ya, teorinya boleh, ya, teorinya dari Aaron Steby, ya. Eh, ya, kajian apalagi kan tadi juga mengatakan bahwa penelitian tentang ekolinguistik selama ini kebanyakan dalam bahasa Inggris. Nah, kalau kita kaji bahasa Indonesia, nah itu akan langka lagi. Tadi kan si Adam, ya, Adam tadi meneliti penggunaan pronoun who,
Ya,
ya, di dalam bahasa Cina. Kalau dalam bahasa Inggris, who itu tidak bisa dipakai untuk binatang,
hanya untuk manusia dan Tuhan.
hanya untuk manusia. Nah, di dalam bahasa Indonesia, ya, kata si Angga tadi, kita bisa menggunakan nya, ya, kakinya, anjing dan anak-anaknya, kan? Kan tidak anjing dan anak-anak anjing, kan? Anjing
Ya.
beserta anak-anaknya makan atau bermain di halaman. Eh, ya, nya itu boleh dipakai untuk hewan dan untuk manusia. Berarti bahasa Indonesia lebih bagus, ya, daripada bahasa Inggris dalam hal, ya, menghargai hewan. Jadi kalau teksnya bahasa Indonesia itu banyak yang bisa diteliti. Jadi cari saja penelitian yang berbahasa Inggris tentang bahasa Inggris, ya. Nah, lalu kita alihkan objeknya menjadi teks berbahasa Indonesia. Oke, sudah, silakan.
Jadi galau Prof.
Ya, galau
Galau,
masih ada
galau.
sebulan lagi, enggak apa-apa, ya. Awal
Yang
semester
yang
depan enggak boleh lagi galau.
meta
Oh,
diskors
sekarang
sudah
masih,
setengah jalan, Prof.
ya, sekarang masih boleh galau.
Aduh, galau, galau, galau. Yalah.
Ya, menarik ekolinguistik ini, dan bonusnya ada Prof Jacob yang bersedia menjadi pembimbing eksternal. Nah, itu tuh bonusnya itu. Ya.
Masya Allah, galau, galau. Sholat istihara dulu, kata Bu Lili itu.
Hmm.
Aduh.
Ya, apa? Yang lain?
Sir,
Si
izin,
Randi, ada yang mau disampaikan?
Izin Prof.
Ya, silakan,
Prof,
silakan.
berarti gini Prof ya, mohon maaf Prof. Berarti sistem pendidikan dapat mengintegrasikan ya Prof ya, ekolinguistik untuk meningkatkan kesadaran lingkungan ya Prof.
Ya, ya, memang itu tujuannya.
Oh
Ya,
gitu Prof. Siap Prof.
Millennium Development Goals itu. Ya, salah satunya kan pelestarian alam. Kini kan cuaca makin panas, ya kan? Ya, alam ini musim juga tidak lagi teratur. Ya. Yang mestinya musim hujan sekarang masih panas misalnya, gitu kan. Nah, itu tujuannya memang membantu, ya, melestarikan alam melalui bahasa. Apakah bahasa itu kita buat sendiri melalui bahan ajar atau modul atau bahan dipakai dalam kelas, atau kita meneliti bahan yang sudah ada, bahasa yang sudah ada di media massa seperti di majalah, di koran, ya, atau di bahan ajar yang ada, ya, dipakai di sekolah. Apakah ada muatan pelestarian alam di buku ajar ya? Buku ajar bahasa Indonesia itu kan banyak sekali ya. Nah, coba diteliti semuanya untuk SMA. Nah, bagaimana muatan eh, pelestarian alamnya di dalam bahan ajar buku ajar itu? Buku mana yang paling bagus dari aspek atau dari sudut pandang pelestarian alam, pendidikan lingkungan? Nah, itu informasi baru ya bagi ILT ya bagi ini pengajaran bahasa itu. Jadi karena ini masih langka, tidak perlu susah-susah mencari research gap-nya. Yang masih terbuka luas.
Izin lagi Prof. Ya, yang
Ya, ya, silakan.
kebetulan saya kan dari bahasa Indonesia Prof. Ini yang
Ya,
tadi Prof bilang itu cerita-cerita rakyat tuh yang ada hubungan dengan lingkungannya Prof atau cerita
ya.
rakyat yang biasanya?
Oh, iya, yang ada hubungan dengan lingkungan, ya.
Siap Prof.
Itu kata kuncinya itu, ya, environmental education, ya, yang ada hubungannya dengan pendidikan lingkungan. Nah, misalnya cerita-cerita rakyat yang berhubungan dengan pelestarian alam. Nah, oke, lalu kita teliti, lalu ya kita buatkan RPP-nya bagaimana mengajarkannya, ya, menjadi kumpulan cerita rakyat untuk tujuan pendidikan lingkungan. Bah, kalau cerita itu kan menarik, ya, kalau bacaan saja itu tidak menarik. Nah, kalau cerita itu kan menarik, kita tinggal memanfaatkannya saja. Ya, apakah mau kita lengkapi, ya, ketika di dalam cerita itu ada yang berbau lingkungan, nah kita tambahi dengan media multimedianya, ya, ada gambar, ada video, ada suara, ya, sehingga ya multimedia buku-buku multimedia jadinya. Jangan takut ya, nanti ada saja orang yang bisa membantu ya bagaimana kita membuat e-book ya e-book yang multimedia. Nah, gitu. Ya.
Prof, jadi
Basisnya adalah
ini
cerita rakyat.
Prof, jadi ini bisa bagus juga ya kalau untuk pengembangan bahan ajar ya Prof ya.
Iya, betul. Betul.
Pengembangan bahan ajar berbasis lingkungan gitu ya Prof ya.
Berbasis pendidikan lingkungan.
Berbasis pendidikan lingkungan dengan menggunakan metode ekolinguistik itu
Metode
tadi.
Ecolinguistics. Iya.
Jadi bisa HRD nih ya Prof ya. Research
Ya,
Development
bisa
berarti
ya,
ya bisa.
ya, ya, bisa.
Oke, makasih Prof.
Ya, Bu Esi ya. Jadi buat
Ya,
bahan
Pak.
ajar bahasa Indonesia ya menggunakan cerita-cerita rakyat. Cerita rakyat itu boleh di daerah mana saja boleh. Kan cerita rakyat itu kan sudah berbahasa Indonesia ya.
Ya.
Ya, cerita rakyat di Padang sudah bahasa Indonesia, di Bengkulu sudah bahasa Indonesia. Nah, cerita itu kita tidak bisa membuatnya itu. Ya. Itu butuh orang apa sastrawan itu menulisnya. Orang ilmiah tidak bisa menulis sastra. Karena otaknya itu bagian otak ini pakai berbeda. Orang sastra itu otak kanan atau otak kiri yang dia pakai ya. Kalau kita logika ya. Tidak bisa karya sastra itu dilogikakan. Nah, jadi kita manfaatkan saja ya, yang sudah mereka ciptakan cerita-cerita yang menarik. Ya, nah kita pakai. Tentu yang bermuatan pendidikan lingkungan untuk uh, bahan ajar atau modul atau apapun namanya ya dipakai di SMP atau SMA ya. Ya kalau ceritanya agak panjang ya mungkin di SMA. Kan cerita itu kan bisa dinaikkan kesulitannya, bisa diturunkan juga tingkat kesulitannya. Nah, itu yang menarik tadi ya, tidak hanya baca, tapi ada yang dia tonton, yang dia lihat. Nah, multimedia, ada yang dia dengar. Ya, ketika di cerita itu ada apa air terjun misalnya kan. Nah, lalu dia melihat ada videonya, ada suaranya. Tentu bahan ajar tidak mungkin sempurna, ya. Pasti ada bantuan guru, bantuan dosen, ya, untuk menjelaskan kepada siswa. Tidak ada bahan ajar itu yang sempurna, itu tidak ada. Makanya masih perlu guru. Jadi bagaimana guru menggunakan bahan ajar itu di dalam kelas. Jadi guru yang kreatif, guru yang inovatif, ya, nah, itu akan menggunakan bahan ajar dengan lebih menarik. Nah, Oke, kita berhenti sebentar ya, lagi azan di ini di tempat saya.
Ya, Dok. Maria Prof sama di sini juga.
Oke, nah, buku yang dikatakan Prof. Jacob tadi sudah saya carikan dan saya kirim ke grup WA. Ini buku tentang
Prof, tanya Prof, dikit Prof.
ya, kooperasi. Ya, silakan, silakan.
Tadi kan Prof bilang bisa buat kayak e-book gitu Prof ya, R&D. Kalau
Ya,
misalnya buat seperti halnya free rise game atau membuat game untuk yang learners itu bisa Prof, yang secara konsep
yang
misalnya
berhubungan dengan ini
ya
lingkungan.
ya
Ya, boleh,
yang
boleh.
17 Sustainable Development Goals
Itu
itu Prof.
lebih menantang lagi itu dari segi programming, ya,
Ya, artinya
coding komputernya itu.
ya kontennya atau muatan-muatan
Ya,
bahasanya juga harus lebih menonjol di dalam itu berarti Prof ya.
iya, ya, bisa. Iya.
Ya.
Pokoknya yang bisa dipakai sebagai bahan ajar baik bahan ajar yang dipakai dalam kelas maupun di luar kelas yang berhubungan dengan pelestarian alam atau pendidikan lingkungan. Nah, itu menarik ya, bagus. Nah, kalau cerita tadi kan kita tidak perlu membuat, kita
Ya.
hanya memanfaatkan, kita hanya mencari. Dulu Pak Bambang Suwarno ya, Bambang Suwarno, dosen bahasa Inggris yang sekarang udah pensiun.
Saraswati. Ya, Saraswati itu,
Dia
Pak.
dia
Ya,
pernah meneliti. Dia menggunakan cerita-cerita rakyat untuk pelajaran bahasa Inggris. Di cerita rakyat itu dia bahasa Inggriskan. Ya, setelah itu dia buatkan naskah dramanya. Nah, itu kelebihan dia. Dia bisa merubah cerita menjadi naskah drama. Lalu dilatihkan kepada mahasiswa dan ditampilkan ya di atas panggung. Nah, itu menarik sekali. Ya. Nah, lalu divideokan, direkam itu. Ya, ini cerita rakyat berbahasa Inggris dibuat dalam bentuk drama dan ditampilkan di panggung dan ditonton orang banyak. Ya, itu di Taman Budaya dulu dia sajikan. Dan dia mendapat dana penelitian hibah hibah bersaing itu. Berapa tuh? 3 tahun kalau nggak salah saya dulu. Mengapa kita menggunakan cerita ya untuk pembelajaran ini? Ya, karena cerita itu menarik, ya, dan cerita-cerita itu langsung memotivasi siswa ataupun mahasiswa membaca atau menonton. Kan yang paling susah itu kan memotivasi siswa mahasiswa itu yang paling susah, ya. Karena gangguan motivasi itu banyak sekali sekarang. Kita tidak bisa memaksakan siswa dan mahasiswa itu tertarik dengan apa yang kita ajarkan. Nggak bisa. Nah, makanya kita menggunakan bahan ajar yang sudah menarik itu, yang bisa memotivasi, yang bisa menangkap perhatian mahasiswa. Kita manfaatkan itu, ya bentuknya game, ya, bentuk cerita, ya, apalagi yang menarik lah. Nah, kita tinggal memanfaatkan itu. Nah, kalau dia sudah termotivasi, ya mereka tidak perlu lagi diajarkan. Ya, mereka sudah belajar sendiri. Kalau belajar bahasa Inggris, yang paling efektif itu adalah pergi ke luar negeri. Ya, pergi ke Australia, ke Amerika, ke Inggris, lalu kursus di sana, bukan bekerja. Ya, bukan menjadi cleaning service di sana ya. Kursus. Tapi kan mahal. Nah, di bawah itu adalah extensive reading. Ya. Nah, ada syarat extensive reading. Yang pertama harus menarik. Yang kedua harus menantang. Ya, tidak terlalu mudah ya, tidak terlalu sulit. Nah, gitu. Ya, mengapa orang asing kalau ke Indonesia cepat sekali bisa berbahasa Indonesia? Karena mereka sebelum ke Indonesia sudah membaca. Nah, orang Indonesia ke luar negeri ya, yang tidak bisa bahasa Inggris, ya tidak bisa-bisa. Kalau tinggal di asrama sesama orang Indonesia, dia bahasa Indonesia. Jadi yang tambah fasih itu bahasa Indonesianya, bukan bahasa Inggrisnya. Ya. Lalu kita malas membaca. Ya itu. Ya. Jadi gunakanlah cerita, ya, boleh cerita berbahasa Inggris, boleh cerita berbahasa Indonesia lalu dibahasa Inggriskan atau tetap berbahasa Indonesia untuk mata pelajaran bahasa Indonesia. Nah, kita pilih mana yang berhubungan, nah, ada muatan ya, yang muatan pendidikan lingkungan. Ya persis seperti tadi ya, muatan Pancasila misalnya, muatan moral Pancasila di bahan ajar. Nah, tapi itu sudah banyak itu, ya, sudah banyak yang meneliti. Nah, yang muatan pendidikan lingkungan ini masih langka.
Ya.
Ya cukup aman meneliti ini karena tidak perlu ethical clearance. Kalau kita menggunakan uh, objeknya tadi berupa bahasa di media massa.
Korpus atau artikel media massa. Oke.
Ya, aman. Masih ada? Silakan.
Prof.
Ya, silakan. Bingung-bingung enggak apa-apa ya. Ya, nikmati ya.
Prof,
Nikmati
izin
bingung
nanya lagi,
itu
Prof.
ya. Masih ada waktu sampai awal semester depan. Ya, silakan.
Eh, terkait tadi kan yang saya tanyakan ke Prof. Jacob soal nama bunga rafflesia yang digunakan untuk mempromosikan daerah, termasuk beberapa produk daerah.
Ya.
Kemudian Prof. Jacob sempat menjawab dengan menyinggung soal kopi luwak. Nah, kalau kopi luwak itu kan jelas yang dieksploitasinya itu luwak.
Ya.
Sementara untuk rafflesia ini, kalau secara awam kita melihat nggak ada yang dieksploitasi karena nggak ada perusakan terhadap bunga rafflesianya. Tapi kata-kata rafflesia itu bahasanya digunakan untuk mempromosikan produk tertentu. Nah, kira-kira pandangan Prof terkait ini apakah bisa kita kaji untuk ekolinguistik atau masih jauh lah untuk dipelajari secara ekolinguistik? Demikian, Prof.
Ya, kita lihat saja dampaknya. Apakah dengan digunakannya lambang atau logo rafflesia itu, kerusakan alam tidak terjadi? Apakah orang Bengkulu lebih menjaga lingkungannya, ya, atau malah tidak? Ya? Apa dampaknya menggunakan rafflesia itu sebagai lambang daerah?
Kalau pandangan awal saya, Prof, menggunakan lambang dan dan kata-kata rafflesia itu justru mempromosikan bunga rafflesia itu sendiri untuk dikunjungi di Bengkulu, Prof.
Ya, nah, apa hubungannya dengan pelestarian alam? Ada enggak?
Ada sih, mungkin kayak penggiat-penggiat pencinta alam itu mereka membuat apa namanya suatu tempat tuh yang memang dibudidayakan bunga rafflesia seperti yang dilakukan oleh Pak Holidin di Kepayang itu.
Iya,
Mereka melakukan
berarti ya
penangkaran.
itu yang kita lihat.
Oh,
Ya kan kritikal itu kan tidak selalu negatif kan tadi,
ya.
bisa positif. Apakah besar dampaknya penggunaan lambang rafflesia terhadap pelestarian alam di Bengkulu ini atau tidak? Nah, kalau iya apa saja? Nah, tadi kan dia katakan kritikal itu tidak selalu negatif, bisa juga positif. Nah, apa feedbacknya, apa dampaknya dari penggunaan bunga rafflesia itu? Ya, tadi baju yang dia pakai itu kan baju batik Bengkulu itu. Ya, ya kemarin tuh Pak Abdurrahman, ya WD1 FKIP kemarin pergi ke Singapura, saya titip ya, 2 buah baju sama dia, satu untuk jaket dan satu untuk Willy Renandia. Karena mereka mereka berteman dan sering istrinya juga berteman sama-sama orang Cina, jadi sering ketemu. Nah, di jaket itu kalau dikasih baju, ya setiap ada acara dia pasti pakai. Yang dulu waktu kami dulu ke Singapura, ya saya kasih juga tahun 2012. Nah, sampai tahun lalu masih dia pakai. Ya. Ini sudah lebih 10 tahun. Ya, saya lihat sudah kumal betul bajunya itu, dia pakai terus. Ya, saya kasih lagi yang baru. Terus saya bawa ke Malaysia, ya, karena dia juga menjadi ejang profesor di eh, Universitas Malaya. Tapi ternyata dia tidak sering ke sana, jadi tidak ketemu dengan dia. Ya, jadi itu Angga, ya kritikal itu tidak selalu negatif. Kalau itu positif ya kita tonjolkan positifnya yang orang mungkin tidak melihatnya. Jadi mengapa nama Rafflesia itu tidak nama orang Indonesia? Ya, karena itu kan nomenklatur ya, nomenklatur itu kan tergantung pada penemu. Mungkin tidak langsung Raffles itu yang menemukan, tapi waktu itu dia yang berkuasa, ya, Governor Jenderal kan. Sehingga dia yang memberi namanya di situ. Atau memang dia sendiri yang menemukan, ya. Karena tentara-tentara penjajah itu tidak semua tentara itu kan wajib militer. Ya seperti George Orwell itu ya, yang di India itu, yaitu sastrawan disuruh pergi berperang, ya, menjajah India. Nah, kerjanya tidak berperang, tapi nulis novel dia. Ada juga tentara yang awalnya itu dokter, nah dia bekerja di rumah sakit. Jadi karena sifatnya itu peneliti, ya dia menemukan penyakit-penyakit. Ya. Di tentara itu tidak selalu di medan perang. Oke, gimana? Udah mantap? Ya, mudah-mudahan makin bingung ya.
Prof, tanya satu lagi, Prof.
Ya, silakan.
Terkait dengan SDG itu, Prof. Kan poin 4 dengan poin 10, quality education dengan reduce inequalities, itu bisa dikaitkan terutama seperti ini, Prof. Buku teks, bukan buku teks ya, materi yang digunakan, evaluation and assessment yang digunakan guru di sekolah, di elementary school, Prof, ternyata sama gitu, Prof. Sementara beberapa SD itu ada anak-anak inklusi, Prof. Anak-anak berkebutuhan khusus dengan keterbatasan kemampuan. Tetapi ternyata gurunya menggunakan assessment yang sama bentuknya. Nah, itu apakah bisa saya angkat atau dijadikan tapi penelitian juga, Prof, terkait dengan SDG ini, tapi ranahnya ke assessment itu, Prof. Ketidaksetaraan dalam hal assessment
Ya,
atau
begini, itu kan
formatnya.
sudah sangat spesifik ya.
Ya.
Jadi kalau tertarik ya tentang ekolinguistik ini, ya yang harus dilakukan ya adalah eh, baca, baca dulu. Nanti itu kan sudah mengarah kepada fokus penelitian, ya. Dibaca dulu, ya
Ya,
apa saja yang sudah
maksud saya gini, Prof. Maksud saya
diteliti
itu
orang,
bukan sekedar
ya.
environment, tapi humannya sendiri yang menjadi fokus untuk diangkat sebagai fokusnya, bisa berarti, Prof, ya?
Ya bisa, ya bisa.
Oke.
Masih sangat luas, ya, karena ini topik yang baru, yang masih hangat. Juga berhubungan dengan konteksnya ya sekarang masalah lingkungan dan alam ini kan menjadi kepedulian banyak orang, ya. Kekhawatiran orang terhadap global warming, terhadap El Nino, ya, terhadap ya macam-macam ya. Nah, itu kan menimbulkan harus ada tindak lanjutnya. Tindak lanjutnya yaitu ya pada pendidikan ya, karena kita dari pendidikan. Nah, apa yang bisa kita lakukan untuk mencapai ya, melestarikan alam tadi melalui pendidikan? Jadi kita bisa meneliti bahan ajar yang berhubungan dengan pelestarian alam. Ya, atau ya kita membuat sendiri ya, bahan ajar yang membantu pelestarian alam. Jadi masih banyak yang bisa diteliti kalau tertarik. Ya. Kalau wacana, ya kata akademik diskurs, kata Prof Jacob tadi, ya sudah banyak sekali diteliti orang, walaupun masih ada research gap-nya, ya, tapi kita harus banyak membaca dulu. Ya, sekian ratus kita baca baru menemukan research gap-nya. Kalau ini tidak perlu banyak-banyak, ya. Kita pejam mata saja, ya. Nah, ketemu langsung research gap-nya itu. Ya, karena memang belum banyak diteliti. Tinggal lagi kita memilih mana yang menarik dan berguna. Ecolinguistic, ya, buku yang saya bagikan itu Eco-ILT itu bisa masuk ke jurnal Applied Linguistic, ya, bisa masuk ke jurnal, tidak harus khusus tentang ekolinguistik, dia bisa masuk ke jurnal-jurnal pendidikan, bisa masuk ke IJAL, CLE, IJOLE, ya, nah, itu bisa. Bisa juga kalau lebih mengarah ke bahasanya bisa masuk ke register arbiter, ya. Tapi kalau yang berbau pendidikan, nah masuknya ke CLE. Itu masih langka. Ayo. Jadi kalau misalnya ada, ya kan semester depan, kan mahasiswa sudah dibagi per kelompok. Nah, nanti kita undang lagi Prof Jacob yang mau meneliti tentang ekolinguistik. Ya, orangnya baik sekali. Ya, asal dia punya waktu, dia bersedia. Dan dia itu peneliti murni. Jadi asal berbau penelitian, ya, ilmiah, dia mau dan dia tertarik. Ya, dia ada mikir panjang itu. Oke, ya, masih ini, ya, kan dia selalu ajak, ya, bimbingannya berdiskusi, ya. Kalau tahun lalu dia ajak Ingrid, ya, Ingrid Galivan. Nah, ternyata dia tidak lagi di Jogja. Dari mana dia itu? Dari Chili, ya, dari Amerika Selatan. Dia kuliah di UNY juga.
Prof, semester
Oke,
depan
silakan direnungkan, ya. Ya,
semester
Prof,
depan
semester
mata kuliah kita.
ya, nah.
Semester depan berapa mata kuliah, Prof?
Depan itu 2, ya, Bu Dian? 2 apa 3? 2, ya.
2, Prof, 2.
2. Metodologi penelitian, satu lagi BIPA, ya.
Iya.
2.
kalau yang berkelompok yang di mata kuliah apa, Prof?
Metodologi penelitian.
Metodologi.
Itu yang sesuai ngambil judul yang ke pengajaran, kayak yang itu ya, Prof ya?
Mau pengajaran,
yang
mau sastra, mau
sudah
linguistik,
khusus
bagi
itu.
3.
Ya, sudah mengkhusus, sudah ke
Linguistik sama siapa, Prof?
topik.
Produknya itu proposal. Produknya, kalau produknya tidak ada nilainya. Jadi semester depan harus selesai proposal.
Allahu Akbar.
Semester
Sedapnya.
3 harus seminar.
Siap, Prof. Siap.
Satu semester buat proposal nggak bisa. Ya, nggak mungkin.
Siap, insya
Saya
Allah.
merinding ya, Prof.
Gimana?
Kok merinding ya, Prof?
Mungkin AC-nya terlalu
Saya,
dingin.
teman-teman, saya tuh agak ragu bisa apa enggak. Tapi kalau ingat nama Prof. Sapnil sama Prof. Dian, jadi semangat lagi.
Kan sudah lihat, ya, seminar proposal kemarin, kan?
Sudah, Prof. Sudah lihat, Prof.
Ya,
Sudah,
proposal itu
Prof.
tidak
Sudah.
pernah sempurna. Ya, jangan takut, jangan khawatir. Ya.
Ya, Prof.
Selalu ada kesempatan, ada waktu untuk memperbaikinya. Nama saja proposal.
Jadi
Siap,
kami yang
Prof.
bahasa Inggris nih, Prof,
Ya.
bagus berbahasa Inggris atau
Ya,
tidak apa-apa berbahasa Indonesia, Prof?
boleh.
Singkat
Boleh.
sebelumnya.
Ya, ada keuntungan, ada kerugiannya. Kalau kita meliti linguistik, itu referensinya banyak berbahasa Inggris. Jadi lebih baik, ya, menulis langsung dalam bahasa Inggris daripada di Indonesia, kan.
Tapi
Nah, kalau sastra itu banyak bahasa Indonesia. Tidak apa-apa. Pengajaran juga banyak berbahasa Indonesia. Ya, mungkin ya campur lah, ya. Tapi kalau linguistik ditulis dalam bahasa Indonesia, nah kita terpaksa terjemahkan lagi gitu.
Ini Prof, kalau misalnya setelah tamat kuliah, misalnya untuk kami yang memang berkarir di dosen, itu ada pengaruh nggak Prof disertasi bahasa Inggris dan bahasa Indonesia itu Prof?
Ya pengaruhnya kan di ini luaran artikel. Artikelnya kan harus berbahasa Inggris. Kalau disertasinya bahasa Indonesia, nanti artikelnya bahasa Inggris kan terjemahkan lagi.
Oh, begitu Prof. Tapi
Dan
secara ini masih nggak
nanti
masalah berarti Prof? Mm-mm.
ke guru besar atau ke lektor kepala, ya. Ke lektor kepala masih bisa publikasi di jurnal Sinta 2 berbahasa Indonesia masih bisa. Tapi kalau ke guru besar harus berbahasa Inggris publikasinya.
Aplikasinya Prof
Ya
ya.
secara khusus saja ya. Harus berbahasa Inggris. Tidak boleh ya bahasa lain. Kalau lektor kepala masih bisa bahasa Indonesia.
Tapi disertasi tidak dilihat berarti Prof ya tentang bahasa mana yang digunakan
Oh,
Prof.
judulnya dilihat, di bahasanya tidak. Judulnya dilihat.
Siap, siap, siap Prof.
Ya, ya. Karena
Kalau
tidak
kami
boleh.
guru ini nggak ngaruh juga ya Prof, mau bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris ya Prof ya.
eh iya, kalau menurut saya, kalau pilihannya tadi, kalau meneliti tentang sastra budaya, silakan bahasa Indonesia saja, karena referensinya banyak bahasa Indonesia. Ya. Nah,
Ya, ya
kalau
betul betul Prof.
pengajaran juga,
Ya betul betul.
tapi kalau linguistik, ya referensinya banyak berbahasa Inggris.
Ya, ya.
Ya,
Ya
jadi
betul Prof.
sebaiknya ya bahasa Inggris.
Bahasa Inggris. Siap, siap.
Kita tinggal paraphrase kan?
Ya,
Yes.
siap Prof.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oke.
Kalau linguistik mau meneliti bahasa Indonesia, ya tidak apa-apa berbahasa Indonesia seperti Pak Jamaludin kemarin. Dia linguistik, tapi dia S2-nya bahasa Indonesia, atau latar belakang pendidikan bahasa Indonesia, nah dia menulis disertasi dalam bahasa Indonesia, boleh.
Ya, ya.
Ya, kalau pengajaran, Elva bahasa Indonesia, yang sastra itu 4 orang bahasa Indonesia semua ya, kemudian ya, si Andriadi bahasa Indonesia. Kalau tidak
Dia
salah,
bahasa
Andriadi
Inggris,
bahasa.
Prof. Dia
Oh,
menggunakan bahasa
Andriadi bahasa
Inggris.
Inggris.
Iya,
Oh iya, ya. Andriadi bahasa Inggris ya.
iya. Walaupun dia menulis sastra.
Iya, ya sudah bagus sekali itu Andriadi itu.
Tapi ada yang dosen bahasa Inggris, Bu Elva, menggunakan bahasa Indonesia.
Ya, ya, Elva. Apa lagi? Ya, hanya Elva ya.
Hanya hanya Bu Elva yang dari prodi bahasa Inggris yang menggunakan bahasa Indonesia.
Kami berharap pilihan itu tidak numpuk ke satu bidang ya. Ada yang tertarik ke sastra budaya itu menarik ya, sangat menarik itu sastra budaya dan langka itu sama dengan ekolinguistik itu masih banyak research gap-nya itu.
Prof
Nah,
itu nanti
pengajaran juga begitu.
kami yang memilih Prof, maksudnya itu ngadap gitu ke Prof Sapnil, misalnya saya mau kemana gitu, langsung ngadap gitu Prof, atau kayak di list gitu Prof.
Ya, yang milih mahasiswa ya, tapi nanti diarahkan juga oleh dosen. Ya, jangan numpuk di satu bidang. Yang
Siap
suka
Prof.
ekolinguistik kan bisa ke pengajaran. Ya, nanti bisa dibantu juga diskusi dengan Prof Jacob, kan ada Ibu Wisma di situ. Jadi yang pengajaran itu Prof Aaron dan Ibu Wisma, yang sastra itu Prof Sarwit dengan Pak Didi, yang linguistik ya saya dengan Budian. Yang mengajar ya semester depan. Sudah? Masih ada?
Prof,
Oke ya, kalau ya.
Prof yang terkait mata kuliah metodologi Prof ya.
Ya,
Ya
soal
semester
penelitian
depan
ya.
itu Prof. Kan ada pengajaran tadi linguistik sama sastra budaya. Nah, itu berarti nanti kalau yang ke pengajaran itu dosennya beda. Terus kalau yang ke linguistik dosennya beda gitu ya, Prof ya?
Beda, betul. Sastra budaya beda. Jadi 3 kelas.
Oh, 3 kelas ya, Prof ya?
Ya, 3 kelas paralel. Pertemuannya
Begitu.
banyak daring.
Siap, Prof.
Oh, jadi banyak dari semester depannya, Prof ya?
Ya, daring ya.
Bisa senyum saya, Prof.
Kenapa? Lewat Kepayang enggak senyum?
Waduh, Prof, tadi ya ampun diajak muter-muter sama supir travelnya, Prof. Sampai sini, sampai online, nah, klien-klien.
Iya. Oke, ya mungkin cukup ya.
Ya,
Ya,
Prof.
Prof.
Baik,
Oke,
Prof.
demikian pertemuan kita. Ya, nanti saya
Terima kasih,
mau
Prof.
simpan lagi ini. Saya rubah menjadi YouTube. Ya, nanti bisa didengarkan bersama lagi ya. Demikian ya pertemuan
Terima
kita
kasih,
sore
Prof.
ini. Mohon maaf kalau ada yang kurang berkenan. Saya
Prof.
sudahi dengan
Terima kasih, Prof.
wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Terima
warahmatullahi
kasih,
wabarakatuh.
Prof. Sehat selalu,
Terima kasih,
Prof.
Prof.
Prof Dian, Prof
Amin,
Sapnil.
amin.
Amin, amin. Sehat selalu semuanya, Bapak Ibu.